Hey everybody, this is Herschel from High School Top 200, and the next team on our preseason ranking is number 9 King's College. I actually think, just finding out more stuff and more information, and then having a look at the team as a whole, I actually think that I've rated them maybe 2 spots back too far. Come the regular season, and when the official season, ranking comes out, I think they'll probably be moved. They'll probably be moved up a couple more spots. And like I said at the beginning of the season, 1A is going to be dominating this year because they have just got loads of talent this year, and also for next year. And Kings is actually one of those teams that I think may be in the running for the number 1 team next year, and this is why. And the guys at King's College have done a great job in assembling a team and forming combinations that I think are going to be real beneficial to this to the format of this team. And so I think that with the guys that he has put, the guys that Coach LeVere has put together, it's gonna make for a really dominant team next year. I'll start off with probably the backs. The backs is probably the ones that I think will fire up first before the forwards. The backs, I think, because Lucas Hall is in his second year. Isako and Nosa is probably another one. With those two, and I think, and this is what I think that because Zahn Sullivan went there this year from Napier Boys, and then it gives him and Thorne Parks at halfback maybe 2 years together, because I think Thorne's got another year next year as well, if I'm not mistaken. So those two are going to have a 2-year stint together to work out all their problems, and work out all their little bits that they need to find out about each other. And then with Isako and then also Lucas Hall's been there for the second year together, and sort of figuring out the physicality, speed, and timing of what the 1A brings. Those two will be able to work together and then have maybe the best midfield pairing for next year. I think this is just what I think. I mean, Coach LeVere's got his own game plan, but I think it's going to be better if you have Zahn at first 5 and Isako at centre, and have Lucas Hawes at second 5, which means that when you have a combination, when you have a line of Thorne Parks, Zahn Sullivan, Lucas Hawes, and Isako and Nosa, those 4 just alone is enough for you to have a good, strong year, even just this year. And then when you extend it to the next year as well, I think a lot of teams are going to have to really prepare for a team like them. And it's not going to be an easy task to go to Kings and win a game, let alone win at your own home games as well. Just from paying attention to the paper that the team is on, and how much guys that they have there that are quality players, not even just this year, but will be quality players next year, it's hard to see that a lot of teams will be able to keep up with what they have. They have some maybe younger guys, maybe moving into those back three slots, but I mean, like, that's always something that can be worked out around good players like those guys anyway. So for those kind of fellas, I think if you have those 4 there, your backline is pretty much set, and then everybody else, in terms of the back 3, you could maybe take some chances, maybe trial some people, get some young guys in there on the wings or things like that, and then have them control everything. For the forwards, I think Mills, Sanerevi is probably going to... I actually pick him to be the open side. I think he might be a better, maybe a better number 8, but I pick him to be an open side because I think Judah Tirahui is going to be the number 8, and then Noah Perolini is going to be the blind side. Now, those three alone, all year 12s, are all going to be real, massive, physical guys, and they're going to be young, and they're going to be returned next year as well. Those three will bring, maybe they would lack experience because Mills is going to be the only one that will have experience in the 1A sort of at a consistent level, and then the other two we're going to have to try and catch up. The preseason games are going to be important to them. They will probably lose some preseason games as well, but at the same time they're going to have to learn from it too. They have a preseason against Hastings Boys, which is going to be massive for those three, and I would rather throw those three in the deep end against someone like Hastings Boys and get them to figure out, okay, if these guys are the best and we need to be at this level, now what can we kind of take away from this game, learning from these guys? And so like that's kind of the attitude that I would take even as a coach, and telling these boys, look, if you guys don't win the battle against these fellas, that's okay. Like, we still have another year, and this is still just a preseason game, so let's learn from this so that we can, fix up where we need to fix up. So like that's a real massive positive that I would want them to take out of this. Like I said, they're all going to be year 12s. They're gonna be back again. So we're looking at 9, 7, 8. We're looking at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 13 all returning. Now, Junior Ratuva is going to be back again, who is the lock, the Fijian lock, real rangy, real loose kind of playing lock, who's real fit and fast when he gets there. What I don't think he's that great at is the lineouts, but they have got some pieces that can do that. I think because Judah and Noah have a bit of height that you can also throw up, but they've also got Laith Hammond, who I think is awesome at lineouts, which leaves Junior to actually be that backup guy, maybe a number 4 jumper, and also you can use him to sort of pull out and go for runs at the same time and set up for runs off the line out, things like that, which will be really beneficial to them because then they can actually spread out the forwards and have some gaps to run to. So Laith Hammond is going to be real important in that. Laith Hammond is the year 12, and he'll be back next year. Hayes Okisini is going to be there as well. Wydor Morris is going to be their hooker, I think. Hayes is going to be one of the props along with Zoan Patua, who will probably be the other prop, and he'll be returning from last year as well. So these are two props that are coming up, and these are two much needed props. Like, if you're going to have young players in your side, especially if they're going to be year 12s and young, some of them are young year 12s at the same time, you have to have some tough guys at the front, some big boy props, some no nonsense kind of props to make up for that physicality and sort of that mongrel that a lot of young players don't yet have. There's not a lot of young guys that have a lot of mongrel when they first start, and then they get to the senior level, and then they're just like, okay, I figured this out. Like, don't come in my area or I'm going to stomp you out kind of mentality that you have to have, especially in the 1A where you just got a lot of tough guys in all the teams. So like Hayes and Zoan are going to be those two kind of guys for the younger guys to sort of take after, and they'll get them looked at. The other thing that I like about this forward pack is that you're going to have some guys like Isaiah Mapusua, Milan Ehrlich, and Hunter Jameson, who are also going to back up as locks and also Lucy's. This is what I think. Remember, the team hasn't been picked. These are just all my thoughts, and I think if you use those three as 2 locks and also as locks and blind sides and sort of patch up the other areas kind of thing, like Isaiah can be a lock and also an awesome blind side because of his height, can be another option if you want to have 3 options and line out things like that. these guys are going to make a big splash this year. They're going to have to try and learn from all the little mistakes that they're going to do as young players do. Just learn from all your mistakes. I think if they were to have some bad losses, which comes with it, they shouldn't get so down about it. Just go back and do some work in the film room, things like that, and suss it out. These guys are going to be pretty awesome this year, and next year they're going to be one of the top teams in the country. King's College, peace.